And we are back, and we're ready to get back into some live action here at the Sales University. We appreciate y'all's patience here at the PIEA, powered by the Esports Company. In case it's been a minute and y'all forgot who we are, I'm Monkey Man. That's cute. No. Wait, no, I'm Q. That's Monkey Man, the best bearded duo that you guys know in the Scholastic scene. That's all that really matters. We're going to bring some action, bring some fun. This should be a blast here. We're off to Marvel Rivals for some Division I action. Two teams who have already won at least one. Now for Penn Manor, who have won 2 conference championships on the day. It's going to be Penn Manor versus CB South. Promises to be a goodie here, Monkey Man.
This is also CB South trying to stress how good it is to get better, not just through the season, but through the playoffs. Some teams are facing perfection, and that is often a heavy weight to have to hold, to bear upon your shoulders, to be perfect through an entire semester. And that is in the form of Penn Manor. They have gone 6-0, 7-0 now through the semifinals, trying to make it a perfect 8-0 through the fall. Whereas CB South faces the task of upending not just one, but 2 separate Goliaths. They did it in the semifinals, defeating one. Can they do it again?
Well, it's time to get into picks and bans. I'm pretty sure as far as walking through things here, getting things started. I feel like as far as we get off to critical, for people who are maybe unfamiliar, starts with control, just like we typically see on Overwatch. And I feel like it's always a great spot for domination. Sorry, same as control. To get things started off, I always feel like domination a great place to start because it's just simply warming up the gunnies. You warm up your communication, your team fight, which is obviously the most important thing. Really get stressed early.
And also seeing the safety pick that's coming through from the side of Central Buck South. So we already get the Emma Snow, and looking how, or rather Emma Frost. And so looking how they want the Luna Snow at least floated off by Pancakes. Feels like that they want to get that new team up that gives them a little bit of a hardier stance. Same thing with the Gambit being at least safety picked from the side of the Comets. So want to try to use that new meta. There's some extra patch changes. Magneto off the board though. That has been one of those kind of mainstay vanguards that's been here for a hot minute and basically is in every single fight. It also feels like they do not want anyone to go Kraken smashing with a Winter Soldier now off the board. They did not want that to go into their Gambit.
Time in for our last bans here for either side.
Storm.
Can't say that I'm too surprised about Storm. I feel like Storm's been one of those. It's kind of been, I don't want to say perma-ban, but darn near it. It feels like, especially at the, maybe like the lower elo, or maybe not lower elo, but not the highest of levels, right? The one that I feel like as a character, it's easily picked up and you can still be able to output quite a bit of damage.
They also, so they make sure that the ban is going to come through to not allow any kind of combination with the Cloak and Dagger to go into the Invisible Woman. So they won't allow Crispy to have kind of their extra friendo, but the Gambit will come out. Everyone's been trying to talk about how they got to be able to shut that player, shut that particular hero down. They do get the Emma Frost locked in as well. So working with your Emma Frost into your Captain America, very brawly, very kind of low to the ground, especially that you're going to have a lot of focus fire coming from your Phoenix that needs to play off and away. So opposite side for CB South. I mean, this is still an undefeated squad. They've been raining into the meta, been feeling what's comfy. And what's cool is that they also have gone to the Loki on either side. Loki got buffed. I don't know if me slamming the table also makes the mic.
Probably.
So I'm not going to do that again. But Loki is going to be back. They went away. I was talking to our observer. That's Madi back on the other side. They're actually on a separate stream now. But Loki's here for a reason. It's because we can pump out big numbers now.
One thing that I always love whenever I come back over and get to watch a little bit of Marvel Rivals, it reminds me of the old school Overwatch, the 6v6. You have that secondary like frontline player, and it's either, do we want to really do kind of more of that snowball size, or do we want to play that extra more of aggressive sort of Vanguard, that more aggressive tank? We actually see Wolverine already playing super aggressive up in the frontier as well. I feel like that's something we'll see quite a bit over the course of the next couple of maps.
And if they can be able to find a lot of value from off of the Groot, as well as the strangulating prison will come up big. But again, it all kind of starts from the front line, especially with this Emma Frost. And off of the quick stir, I was told that they are one of the 2 IGLs that are on this squad. And a lot of value has to be found between them as well as their Groot, if they can be able to lock them down and get that mitigation. But in fact, it is quick stir that is locked out. If they get slammed away, you do have this Iron Man that's going to try and at least provide some extra coverage. That is Snapthorn. Talk to them for a little bit. They're trying to get rid of the extra clones, make sure that extra damage doesn't get pumped through.
They did a great job of at least being able to stand for now. And you also see over on the side of VKR is getting super aggressive, trying to take down the Captain Americas. It's Penn Manor, who has pretty well gotten completely taken off the boards. You can already hear them next door getting super loud. CB South are locked in.
I mean, this is also a couple of teams that have been waiting for a hot minute to be able to get started. Yeah. And so I'm not surprised at all that they're going to get a lot quicker up into this. You do have Blaze that is working as that strategist. It's kind of a pseudo strategist. It's a very, very strong one from Gambit. They're going to work in tandem with Snapthorn, who goes down to now 1/4 health. They were quad snapped and they're completely out of the equation, which means the strangulating prison is going to be what saves the day.
Doing a great job getting up and over the wall here is the Gambit, trying to find as much damage into the back line here as possible. And even for Togi, just doing a great job of being able to approach towards this point. They are getting held out a little bit. CB South, despite the fact they lost a couple of players early, still doing a great job of keeping the comments at bay, and you will now have at least a pair of ultimates to work with.
If they can be able to get this Raging Royal Flush utilized, they're going to just keep that behind the back line of the quick stir, just in case they need to be able to get that Empress Gaze moving forward. They do have the Iron Man ultimate online, so if any one of those decides to pop, I feel like quick stir is going to give them the go button, especially as the IGL, to be able to lock that down. You have 5 of the 6 ultimates available here for the Titans of CB South, but same to be said for Penn Manor, with 60, now 70% about locked in. This next team fight is it.
Yeah, this next team fight is going to be where it's super fun to watch as an observer, just to be able to see all of the different ultimates getting popped. It's going to get chaotic. It's all about who's going to be able to find the most value here. And it does feel as if CB South is slowly turning the tides. They've already found themselves their first 2, and they're just about wrapped up with this first sub now.
Fate of both worlds getting popped at the same time as the Royal Flush was actually a massive move, and it basically cleared the way. This one should be able to just completely get rid of the rest of the Gambit. This one will be done. They're going to save that one for the rest for later. So the Titans will be taking our first round here of Domination Station. First thing to keynote is those extra ults used at the very end. You can carry over your ultimate from one round to the next one as domination, unlike control for Overwatch. So for that high investment for that last team fight, it was interesting to see so much of that become popped from Penn Manor as well. They could have played for the beginning of this next one.
Yeah, I guess for CB South, it's just making sure that you set the tone right, because they were the ones who it's kind of felt like was more in response, at least later on in the back end of that fight, making sure that they secure, because it almost felt like for them, I don't want to say overkill popping the last couple of 2 ults, but it did feel like they probably could have weathered the storm and also carried those things over here as well. As far as for Penn Manor, well, it doesn't look like they're going to be making too much as far as changes for them. A couple of, as far as the Vanguard sees, if maybe they can bring a little bit extra heat in the front line.
They do have the Thing, who did get buffed a lot to be able to just, I mean, you're basically our local Thing. So he's at 50%. They move over into having a lot more of that mitigation. You also do have the God of Mischief ultimate still available for the Comets if they decide to utilize that and maybe copy what the JD has for the Thing, or maybe even do the same thing for Snapthorn onto their ultimate. Depends on which one they want to lock in. Fireball does have their Strangling Prison available and good to go. Nothing to really combo with it, so that's probably just going to be wall it up, play some Fortnite, and keep them off the site.
Oh, doing a great job as far as keeping them at bay for now. That's one thing Groot's great for. Will now push forward as everyone gathered up just inside the doorway. JDL trying to push forward and get some sort of space here for Penn Manor, but has not been successful in that regard. Will now fall, and that should make it easier for CB South to secure this point even more.
So you had an early Strangling Prison use just to be able to kind of close off that funnel point. Snapthorn is trying to stay alive. They do get him healed up all the way, especially from off of the Gambit, and now it's all about clearing the way, especially because your counter Gambit as well as Invisible Woman are off the charts and off the board for the Comets. They are going to keep the God of Mischief, and they also have its Clobber in time ready to go. That combination could spell disastrous, especially if you get a double clobber in time. Have you ever had 2 fists thrown at your face at the same time?
I have. It's not a it's not a very fun sight to be on. That is for sure. And hey, you do see as far as stepping forward, Jadiel trying to find their way back towards the point, leaves them away from the rest of the squad momentarily. However, as will the Iron Man back into the action and into the fray, and actually it seems like kind of tucked out of sight, out of mind. It always feels like when you see those players take to the sky, when they get free reign, they really start to put down the hurt.
I mean, flyers are there to make sure that you're always looking upwards and having to just split your eyes like you're some kind of weird chameleon. You're gonna have it, at least one more come up. They're gonna utilize that invincible pulse cannon, but it actually doesn't get popped just before they could. Now you've got the gaze of the Empress lying upon anyone that wants to be able to see it. You get rid of your invisible woman, they'll have to slowly walk their way back into the fight. This one could be it, and Linda simply into another team fight. Central Bucks South is not letting them through the door.
They just will not allow them to get any sort of access to this point. You can hear them next door. It's they're wanting to keep the pedal down. They keep pushing forward. There is no chance for Penn Manor to even get grouped up together for one more solid team fight. They see someone pushing forward, they instantly jump on the first one through the door.
You got an invisible boundary, and you have that big old blaster from out of your Iron Man. Talk about a worst case scenario for Penn Manor. They might try to copycat the Iron Man ultimate if they can do so. He wants to be able to get some distance, and that's exactly what they're keying up to do. If they're going to leap onto site, it's going to have to be now. They do pop the overtime. See if they're going to be able to get at least one extra ray. Here comes the big boom. That's going to be able to get at least a couple. So there goes the rest as they're just going to stretch them out. This overtime timer is burning hot, and so goes domination. So goes Central Bucks South. They're going to get themselves up on the board first.
First map was complete domination is what it was. CB South was able to take control from the word go, and they did not let up. And it just felt like as much as we were keeping eyes on their Iron Man, who was able to pull off plenty of big plays. Blaze also doing a great job of being able to pop off. The MVP, I mean, just look at the stat line. Just doing a great job of showing up and showing out here on map 1.
That's exactly what you need to do from out of your strategists. And strategists in general right now are very strong because Gambit is leading them with every card stacked in their favor in the deck. 13k healing from out of them, and really matching up to the play that a lot of have seen be basically laid upon anyone that's an invisible woman. They tried to kind of counter match by putting that over onto the Ultron Grotto, doing what they can, but you're just not seeing the same level of healing output. They went to that triple strategist, and then by the end of the day, that wasn't pumping out the numbers necessary to see what Snapthorn was finding. But man, everyone laying it on the line right now from CB South. There's a reason why this team has been perfect all season long. They're doing the homework.
Man, this is tough here too now if you are on the opposition side, because we know that on the other side of the server here for Penn Manor, they're also used to being able to kind of push teams around all around the server. And you mentioned, switching over to the third strategist, it just kind of felt like towards the middle of that map, wasn't sure what it was going to take to turn those team fights around. They might find a pick, and even if they were finding the first one, they weren't able to compound that down and find a second or third. CB South stays alive. They slowly turn the fight back around in their favor and come out on top each and every time.
And honestly, you have some teams go, okay, do we flex the meta? I think we even talked about this with an interview of like with the was it the coach with Penn Manor in Overwatch?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, do you contend to do what is new, what is different, what is changing at like the pro sphere of things, or do you simply do what feels comfortable? And this was kind of a mix of both, knowing what the newest patch is kind of giving you, especially with the Ultron changes off of the different imperatives, especially with patch, and same thing with basically what hasn't changed, and that's Iron Man is not bad. Iron Man continues to be a really solid flyer, and if they're going to be left unchecked, then use them, especially when you have just a really solid Stranglethorn use off of your Groot. You're funneling that the entire map. It has 3 entry points, 2 high points, and one kind of basically up into a hallway, and you can wrap all the way around. But no one was rewriting how that site was going. Sometimes you get it off of storms. Storm was flexed away. Human torches, which was never used, and we didn't get to see a lot from the Phoenix. So feel like they did such a good job at turning it into a one-dimensional game. It's like football when you just take away the ground game and you have to keep going for the pass, and then if you shut that down, you win.
As long as you know that one thing's off the board, you just have to kind of play around the other, and they definitely seem to do a pretty good job as far as that goes. So, we asked the question when we were starting the day over in Overwatch. Well, where do we go next? We started on domination. The question, convergence, convoy. If you are the side of Penn Manor, what are you thinking here?
I mean, they were really scrappy when they could be. I feel like they have an idea of what they want to walk in with the Gambit, and we gotta wonder if CB South purposely was like, all right, come on, walk into the Gambit with us, like see if that kind of works out. I think that we actually go over to a convergence, and I'm a huge fan of Central Park. That's kind of where my bread and butter lives, but I also understand if no one wants to do that. So I think that we end up on the symbiotic surface. It's ooey, it's gooey, and it has a weird pulsating bug thing that's on it. So it's also a mad dash off a single funnel. A lot of teams end up using the Doctor Strange to portal in, drop down, and then move that alongside. So I could see them trying to simplify the game, but if you oversimplify a game like this as well, you get caught in the same gambit. I mean, and CB South shows that can basically do them one better.
And just a reminder here, as far as for Marvel Rivals, it is back to the best of 5. So first team to 3, I think technically is still is Marvel Rivals first?
It's best of 3 in the regular season, and it's still a first to 3, but it's best of 5. So yeah, like once we go through domination, convergence, and convoy, they can flip back and forth. They can do like whichever they want to. So
as long as you've already been through the process of them all, so it will be at least a little bit of time until we at least have domination back on the table. And well, asking you shall receive. I was the one who was asking in Overwatch. You're the one who's telling the story here for convergence. We're off to Central Park here for some convergence for map number 2.
Okay.
If you had to guess, are we going to really see much switch up as far as team comps going off to Central Park?
I felt like they were abused a lot by the Emma Frost, but they also want to walk the Emma Frost, so I don't think that we're going to see that one changed away. If they definitely want to not deal with what is kind of a mainstay OG flyer, get rid of the Iron Man, but they also might want to flex the Ultron, and Ultron with Iron Man is a great team up. So I can see them maybe saying, all right, get that giant pulse cannon out of the way. But magic is as magic do, and they do not want to deal with magic. She is a bruiser. The Wolverine, though, did provide a lot of ground coverage in support of those efforts. So they are saying, get rid of the Beastman.
Interesting to see that one right up off of the table. I know you had mentioned the Magneto when we were talking about the ban being taken off the table last time around.
But they were banned out last time.
They were banned out last time. We'll be able to make their way through, and also seeing the Groot onto the table, I guess, can't be too surprised. I feel like if you see a strong Vanguard, you're probably going to be seeing another one kind of allowed through on the opposite side, right?
Yeah, it depends, because there's so many great duelists when they walk into this matchup. So you're like, all right, do I really want to focus on getting rid of like every single duelist in the way? Do I even want to safety pick any of them? Nah. They did find that their Hela wasn't really working, and they don't want to let some of that aerial superiority, even though it's kind of like repositioning the high grounds, work out. The Iron Man does get cut down. Magneto was locked away, now unlocked, and then they're like, all right, you're not going to get our Iron Man, so don't even think about it, bozo.
Now, it's actually the first time that we've seen them take the time over on that Central Bucks side as far as what they do indeed want to be able to save away for the pick. Okay. And the Luna Snow, I know you had mentioned last time you thought they were looking towards potentially wanting to go with the pick there based off of their composition. Well, that's going to be on the board this time around.
I wouldn't be surprised, because they want the Magneto. Groot is safety picked, so that's probably going to be the main two that they walk in with. I was thinking that maybe they do the Emma Frost just to be able to have that new comp with alongside the Luna Snow team up, see if that works out. So they do get rid of the Cloak and Dagger. The Fate of Both Worlds will be available. All right, no one throwing cards this time. All right, the Gambit is that there's no Gambit. No one will be stacking the deck. Get rid of that DPS strategist.
Does that mean that all of the cards are on the table, or none of the cards?
They put it in the shredder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just straight up. Yeah. Move from, I guess, what was it, like, what do you call a normal deck of cards? Because it's just standard 52. I don't know.
52.
Yeah, they replaced it with like Pokemon cards, and no one knows how to play that game, so no one's gonna be dealing with cards.
Hurts my heart, the fact that you think no one knows. I still okay. Actually, I'm not trying to lie to you here, but again, with the best of 5 here for CB South, it's big weight for them because if they can take another map, well, all of a sudden Penn Manor has to stare down the barrel of a reverse sweep, and I think something to keep in mind, as much as both squads were waiting to get into things, well, neither team really got full momentum as far as full like warm-ups into it, so they kind of both starting off from the same spot. I feel like momentum becomes a little bit harder to overcome in a situation like that. So for CB South, if they can come out and go back-to-back on the first 2 maps, I just don't see a world where Penn Manor bounces back.
You also have the Chilling Assault team up that's now unlocked here for Central Buck South, as you get the Luna Snow in combination with the Hawkeye. And I'm going to tell you right now, it has been a long time since I've seen Hawkeye be useful, so that's actually kind of sick nasty. You do the final judgment that will be built up by Crispy onto this Punisher as well, with Grotto trying to make movements forward. So the Central Buck South see their tree cut down. Yes, the bush has been whacked.
Well, the first one down, Snapthorn got pretty close at one point, but has been able to stay alive, and it does feel like Penn Manor have come in with a little bit of a different swagger about them as we've taken to map number 2. CB South is still going to have some time to be able to make their way back into things, but oh, do we have this switched around?
They are not.
We do indeed have things switched around here. So it's CB South who does have all of the control. And man, that was a quick, fast, and in a hurry first fight.
It very much was. They had to take all of a single team fight, and they cleared the board. So if you guys are wondering, yes, we're doing it in real time. Penn Manor is in fact on defense right now, as the Titans of Central Buck South have been running it down as if they are at Toys R Us, and they have a free $400 gift card to try and just buy everything that they want. Snapthorn has in fact moseyed over to the Winter Soldier, and that is not a dude that you want to get crack and smash by. He's able to get the uppercut, finds already an OG kill onto Togi, and it looks like this one is just a snowball.
And you know, I thought that there was a chance that they were switched around merely based off of the sounds that I was hearing next door. Whoever's been leading the charge for the Central Buck South on the comm side, we're hearing clearly to the wall on the other side of the studio. They are amped up on that Central Buck South side, and it's really showing out on the server. I mean, they have had complete control in these fights. It really seems like they are locked in, especially when it comes to their target priority.
Early Fate Above Worlds trying to just make the rest of this team survive. You have the Meteor M that's coming through. Do they find a kill? Yes, they do. So that's going to be hopping pancakes. And so at least they go down. There's not going to be a Fate of Both Worlds used in opposite, but Central Buck South will be able to utilize the Emma Frost ultimate and get everyone hypnotized. They're trying to get everyone walking into some damage, but instead of that, you have the Winter Soldier going down early. So everything is a little bit staggered out, trying to use that deliverance as best as they can. Walk straight into the old shoddy, but Central Buck South looks like they've taken over from this mid checkpoint.
Continuing to push their way on through 5.5 minutes on the clock as they're already halfway there and living on more than a prayer, as Penn Manor really need to find a way to lock on in. You basically have this one last turn and then one more from there. You are going to be working up towards these steps, so maybe for Penn Manor, that slight angle might be just a bit of an advantage for him here.
You have nothing to survive the Kraken impact in the final judgment right now. If you are Penn Manor, they do use the Strangling Prison to just try and slow them down, but then the tree gets deleted. Central Buck South can be able to just pop pretty much anything they want. Kraken impact it is. Pancake faces in all of these spaces. They do survive, but just barely. They try to be able to punish the Winter Soldier, and they do so. Both of their duelists are out of the way, trying to play from off angle at minimum just to make sure this lane doesn't completely get taken over. But Penn Manor, they're going to have at least this hurricane coming through. Does the storm help them survive?
Oh man, doing a great job here to continue weathering said Storm, and I might even be able to pick up one more, it does feel like, and really trying to find a way to bring things to a screeching halt, but it does just feel like Central Buck South always find a way to withstand.
right up the stairway, and pushing the old fox, but they're just set to fire. They're going to push that bridge, and you can actually accidentally fall over it, but they were able to clamber. They're able to turn. There goes your invisible woman, and with strategist falling, everyone else is going to be bawling. Tears coming out as the Quickster, one of their 2 IGLs, is leading the rest of the charge. It is a slow foot stomp, but they're going to park it all the way at the other end. Convergence and full points are to the side of the Titans. Penn Manor needs to match them.
Absolutely cooking. 3:56 on the clock. We had seen what it was halfway through once they had gotten past that first checkpoint. The cart got stalled for like 15 seconds, but that was it. Otherwise, the wheels, whether it was slowly rolling or fully rolling, it just kept moving.
Wheels went off the bus and looking like a bobsled on fire, and it just went downhill straight into the pins that are Penn Manor. Strike, turkey, whatever you want to find between the gutters. So, Penn Manor has a lot of work to be done, and I got to figure out how they're going to do it because they changed out their duelists 3 separate times, Moon Knight and Storm, to at least think about that being their start. Grotto may be considering leaving this to being a single Vanguard going, let's see, 1, 2, triple. No, they're actually flexing these guys. So JD and Grotto are switching roles if this sticks between Vanguard and Strategist.
The thing I keep seeing is kind of similar like we saw towards the end of map number 1 where they went for like the triple strategist. They're just throwing stuff at the wall right now and trying to see if it sticks. And I gotta say, I can't blame them at the rate that these team fights have been going. I mean, Central Buck South, it really has been complete domination. Again, maybe you might find a early pick for Penn Manor, but to be able to compound down pressure, they've just really been struggling to do so. I will say, though, only having the 1 Vanguard against a team that's really being able to put down your team quick is a questionable decision.
That's very true. It can be kind of difficult to have to deal with, but for the most part right now, like if everyone stays just basically off angle, you don't get shot, you're not going to have to deal with too much. Now,
just don't get shot
just don't get hit forehead. Come on, don't just make it easy living. So busting out is Penn Manor. They're going to see this one much more difficult to have to deal with. I love myself a Moon Knight, especially looking like he's wearing onks all over his body. But when you have that Venom on the back line, things are going to get a little bit difficult. JD has to be able to retract back. There's a lot of yelling, even more than I'm bringing over this wall. And it looks like they're finally wiping them out. Central Buck South is getting kicked in the craw.
Oh, they're starting to get pushed back here. Is this where Penn Manor starts to earn their keep? As you already see past that 30%, already back towards the point and applying some pressure. Is Snapthorn did that extra aggression potentially cost them here?
Gotta watch out though. Quickster has moved over to being the Doctor Strange, so one good eye of Agamotto and things get squirrely and sideways. They do steal at least 1 ultimate, so maybe that will turn things around. You have the fate of both worlds and everyone basically throwing hands over monitors on the other side of things. Just when you thought this tide was moving, the Ankh and all of the eye of the Agamotto will be building up, but no, it's all of this Egyptian curse coming from the billionaire himself. Comets! They thought they were going to be shooting through the sky, but they're just being buried in the ground.
Trying to stay alive here is Jay, not going to be able to do so. And now all of a sudden that push where it felt like they were about ready to keep things unlocked, Central Buck South is starting to fight things on back, and now every team fight they win from here is just more time taken away if they do unlock things. But right now Central Buck South doing a great job keeping Penn Manor at bay.
They used the invisible boundary. Now you've got the final judgment of trying to be able to clear the way out. You've got the Eye of Agamotto off of the stun and the strangling prison. Everything being used in a weird stagger and nothing really in combination. Everything seconds away. The Abyss is trying to call them back. JD will get rid of the Quickster, and they finally unlock this point. Penn Manor not going down without a fight.
They definitely show that they got more fight left in them. I heard no bell. It's 4 minutes left as they do unlock this thing pushing forward. The question becomes, how quickly can you be able to close the gap as far as for this first checkpoint? Because remember, when Central Buck South started pushing, that thing ain't stopped.
No, not at all. No, this was a full snowball, and it was going downhill, basically a negative 9.81 meters per second squared. That is terminal velocity. And yet, it is Central Buck South that is finding a way to at least slow them down. You have CJ waiting just to see if anyone else will be coming about. They want to clear out the Venom, and that will help out. Now Penn Manor, what they have been able to do as they've actually got the Star-Lord. Don't remember when Snapthorn changed over, but they decided Flyers it is.
Why not be able to change the levels just a bit? You mentioned the Flyers bring things to a different level. There's a chance that maybe that could be the thorn in the side of this Central Bucks squad. It does feel like they've been locked in just a little bit here. VKR really trying to poke and prod at range and see if they can find that first pick as Crispy goes down, and Jadale does as well, and it feels like Central Bucks South will continue pushing Penn Manor back.
Galactic legend Snapthorn himself from the sky wearing his jet boots and frying down this squad of Penn Manor. The Comets soared for only a little bit, but it's like Haley's, and you'll see him in another 50 years. Central Bucks South trying to get to 2-0. They have the God of Mischief as well as a Strangling Prison. One more team fight just around the corner. You've got a few left in you, but they're trying to stay focused. Meteor Atom is going to smack them down. Pancakes will hit the respawn screen. There's going to be the prison. They're trying to wall them off, but the Bucks are falling.
Storm goes in for the ultimate. What can they find off of the back of it becomes the question. They can find themselves one and maybe just enough of an opening from a second, as well as it does look like Penn Manor may have done just enough to unlock the second, unlock this first checkpoint.
Clap, clap goes the pop idol. They're 3 meters away. You're gonna have the final judgment online right now for VKR, but VKR is hyper focused down. As soon as you expose the guns, you're basically a living target. And so Penn Manor gets Central Bucks South on their heels. They will unlock this with 3 minutes. Now, that is already 50 seconds less than what the Titans have in totality for the remainder if this goes into overtime.
Yeah, I think the important thing though right now is you just have to make sure you can push the full distance. We'll worry about the time on the back end. The first thing you need to do is simply force the overtime. Groot, you gotta turn around. You gotta make sure you can stay alive here, my guy. Eventually ends up falling here for CB South, and Penn Manor really seems to have caught a second wind.
Rusty on the old Hand of Khonshu early investment, just to be able to clear some space. They will zone Central Bucks South. They're going to utilize the Emma Frost ultimate, trying to get anyone and just basically embraced and hypnotized to start walking towards them, trying to bait them up this bridge. They know they can boot them off of either side and find some value from that. There goes your Luna Snow, so there's no more extra frost to put onto the field and save everyone else. Hoping to be able to get the invisible boundary, they double it up.
Double it down and we'll get the extra value. The question now becomes from the side of Doggy. You can stay alive and continue to keep the pressure up. For Central Bucks South, they have their backs up against the wall. One more team fight going on the side of Penn Manor, and yeah, maybe not being able to complete the push as quick, but you've at least been able to complete it. But Central Bucks South brings it to a halt for now.
They have hijacked their fox. They need to get back to the mythical creature. They have 1:35 to make it happen. All of 1 Omega Hurricane. They'll have an invisible boundary to go in combination with that. You don't want to see your Storm get caught out early. That's exactly why they're splitting the high ground, but making sure that they provide some coverage over to the Luna Snow. They're going to put the invisible boundary directly onto that mid-funnel point, and they're going to have that Omega Hurricane come right back to the back line. Can they protect everyone just enough? They do with the fate of both worlds.
Great job to be able to keep them up and keep them alive here. Now the question becomes, what can Crispy find in the back line? Unfortunately, will fall before they're able to find any value. Central Bucks South still has 6 players still left standing as they will continue to run it down. They got to make sure not to overextend here, but with less than a minute left, Penn Manor may only have one more full fight.
JD with the Call of the Abyss is going to be up in a few seconds. I don't think that they're going to be able to actuate with getting a pick from that. They do have the Hand of Khonshu, but the Hand of Khonshu has been Hand of Meh. It hasn't really been able to get much except for a little bit of zoning. You have 3 ultimates that will all pay dividends if you're the Titans. One last team fight, 35 seconds. They are daring them to step just a little bit too far up here, Q.
VKR is doing a great job. Just damage. It feels like hitting them shots quickly, tearing down some shields and some damage. The question becomes, who's going to be able to make the way up the stairs? Who's going to be able to take back control and finish this push? You didn't come this far just to come this far.
They've been to this moment, but this might be the pinnacle for them. The fate of both worlds just to stand in their face. That's off of Blaze, off of the copycat. And so now with Snapthorn, I mean, the Galactic Legend himself is grounded, but everyone on the side of the Comets are too. It's a 2-0 setup as Central Bucks South will be on championship point.
They've been able to push this Penn Manor squad around quite a bit. And while at times Penn Manor has done a good job of being able to withhold the challenge, it just feels like every time Penn Manor gets things close, Central Bucks South finds that simple extra adjustment to continue to separate.
It's a tale of how much do you want it at this point, because more than likely we will be going over to escort, and so they'll have to take that care package and get it the entire distance. And I didn't dislike the Moon Knight. I feel like there's still a lot of value that was gained from them. Obviously, they had the most final eliminations into the lobby. But I mean, when you're not really getting much from off of your Punisher either, if like, a lot more of it was assist, you're putting a lot of damage down in distance. They couldn't do much on that final straightaway, and it's such a tough position to have to work with as well, because when you're basically looking uphill, I mean, Anakin knew best. He ain't gonna win that fight. He's like, dang, I'm about to lose all my arms, right? Like this is about to be a tough draw. And especially, I liked what the Storm was able to do, but it became such a telegraphed position. You had the Invisible Boundary, Omega Hurricane. They're like, all right, we're going to stack our strat ults, and we're just not going to let you in.
I think for Central Bucks South, it just seemed like for them came in with a game plan and were able to stick to it, right? And you mentioned it just felt like for Penn Manor, and I even mentioned as well too, they continue to switch things up, and a while like towards the end started to have some success. I don't know if they have enough to carry over into map number 3, especially with what we're hearing next door behind us.
Yeah.
Granted, I can't tell them everything that we're hearing over there because I can only hear so much. But it seems like it's only loud on one side of the venue. And in that land sort of spirit, it's hard when you're getting beat down.
Yeah.
And then you hear how pumped up and how excited the other team is. Now all of a sudden your back's up against the wall. You're looking down the barrel of a reverse sweep. That's just so much pressure at the end of a long day.
I feel like we did hear Penn Manor get really heckin' loud when it was them clearing that site. But I also could tell that they were physically exhausted.
Yeah.
they after getting steamrolled, I think their IGLs and just in general, the players were like, all right, we need to embrace this moment of championship. We need to get in their heads and we need to just rev each other up. And that was what was happening. I think I know which person literally was yelling that whole time, but they're like, all right, I want to make sure that if my boy is out there and finding some picks, that it doesn't matter if it's 1, if it's 2, or maybe it's just an assist. They're going to feel like a king. And that was what was cool. And it worked. But it was like they ran a marathon because they had to do that the entire checkpoint process as they move the objectives. So now as you have to do that off of Convoy, I can't imagine anyone has any energy left for Convoy.
Convoy is usually quite the marathon, as you are mentioning here. And now that does go back to as far as the terms of you find yourself in this interesting scenario, right? Because if you're Penn Manor, you've got the most pressure you're ever going to feel before you head into this next map.
Yep.
I mean, your back's up against the wall. There is no more second chances. But every little bit that you can earn from here on out, you can slowly push that pressure over into the laps of CB South. You win map number 3, CB South probably ain't going to be sweating it too much. But then if you win map number 4, now you're the one with momentum going into that map number 5. So CB South probably understands the situation. I mean, I know we were talking about it a bit during the break. Both of these two teams do have quite a bit of multi-title players. So especially for this Penn Manor squad, who we had talked about, came so far in the past and knows how important it is to try and close things out. They know that they're now on the back side of that, and they're going to look to try and apply as much pressure as they can in map number 3.
Yeah, I mean, when I got to talk to CB South, and they literally have players that are playing like every title out there, which is insane. So, well, it's video games, so there's a lot of transitive properties for some of these things. Rocket League is its own thing. I think it's closer to chess than it is an FPS.
Yeah,
but for some of these guys, I mean, they're ready to play the big leagues, like literally with everyone. As we kind of look down the short barrel of Convoy, I'm thinking that, look, okay, I can make a request and then I can make a guess. 2099, love Spider Islands. Please do so. It becomes the scrappiest on rooftop situations, and I feel like it would also play pretty well into CB South's hands because they've had T Flyers. Now, if you want to go away from Flyers, then maybe we find ourselves into Midtown, because Midtown, while it does have kind of an upper perch situation for some high grounds, there's a lot more fighting that happens on the street. So depends on if they end up kind of wanting to walk into that mindset for this. But I mean, Convoy is going to be tough no matter what, because I mean, just like, okay, I'm gonna age myself. Playing CTF flag when it comes to Halo, it is some of the most team coordinated portion of a video game, not to exclude at all Marvel Rivals, and we've seen that from Overwatch. It's so much dynamic movement about what you got to do next whenever the objective is turning the corner.
Flag drop, flag take, flag drop,
over and over again, just across the map. You ever seen those do it at like Mach 4?
Oh,
yeah. These days the G slide, it's crazy.
A lot of there's definitely a lot of fun to it here. I can tell you, as far as for Convoy, I can't tell you where I want to go. I can tell you where I don't want to go.
Okay.
But I can't pronounce it, so I'm gonna let you take a stab at it.
What, Yggdrasil?
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
You don't like the Greek gods?
No, yeah. If I can't pronounce it, I'm not happy with it.
If I don't know it, it ain't me. I don't want to deal with it.
I just call it fake. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's tough to.
No, wait. Okay, then you tell me, what's the other one under domination? What's the third choice? How do you say that?
Oh, white.
T'Challa.
T'Challa.
Okay. It's just like it's written. We have our stuff off to the side. You got the little things on there. Oh my gosh.
Map number 3 here for Penn Manor. Right now they're looking for the 3P. I'm trying to think. I think this is Penn Manor's last chance at title for them. Yeah. No, they are in. No, because their Smash did win. I was thinking Smash was later on the day, but because we fell behind. So looking for the 3P here. We haven't had a team be able to take 3 conference titles home in a single session. What's it going to take to be able to turn things around here?
All right. I mean, I don't like laying all of the responsibility upon one key set, but I mean, when your strategists are falling out, that's kind of at the behoove protection of your Vanguard and your DPS. And it's not like that was happening all the time, but I saw the healing numbers, and I think it was twice the amount of healing pumped out by CB South than it was for Penn Manor. I might be in the opposite camp, but yeah, it was lockdown processes. The interesting part of what we're walking into as well is the other side of the responsibility train that I was going to put in, and it's that your DPS is just not doing the work. Now, that's unfair for me to say outright, because obviously you were getting a lot of value out of your Moon Knight, but that's also why they got rid of him. They're like, you're getting too much value out of this Moon Knight, so no more Hand of Khonshu.
Taking off the board here first, and it's worth noting, in case your eyes have not made their way up to the upper middle part of your screen, we're off to Midtown here for Convoy, which I think you said was probably where we're going to go. At least they can keep things common between Overwatch and Marvel Rivals. Midtown,
it looks a little different.
Yeah, you know, at least a commonality of where we're off to go. Old tried and true. I do suppose. But what are you seeing thus far as early on our picks and bans?
Well, remember when I told you there was going to be street brawling, right? It was a lot less flyer heavy for this, because you're going to have to go underneath some buildings. Well, the one person that has been, and apparently a player's game crashed, so we're going to have to reset some of this as well. If this sticks, which I think you're supposed to keep your picks, your bans, and everything. Magic had been banned the previous couple of games. She is insanus brainus when it comes to just general melee scrapping, and her getting safety picked is kind of a big play. It's a big boy play, and I don't know who was on which side at that point in time. I think we were still locked in with Penn Manor being on the blue side, so we'll see if that is still the same. But Magic can turn a game around. They are huge as the Dark Child. They're able to just teleport forward. I think their name is Vendetta in Overwatch now. That's like the same. And then if you've ever played League of Legends, that's Aatrox. big sword make big damage with big hurt. You know, just yeah, makes it happen.
I'm hoping that if I don't look at it and don't acknowledge it, then it's not real.
It's not real. You know?
We're gonna keep going forward. It does look like though we've been able to get our player back on into things, and we'll continue moving forward. And again, just a quick reminder: best of 3. So I know we had best of 7s for Rocket League, but best of 5. So it's a first of 3 here as far as for Marvel Rivals. Central Buck South on the verge of getting themselves their second conference title, and they will be playing for 2 more in Valorant as well.
That's very true. And we're going to be doing all that in kind of later YouTube stuff. So if you want to be able to check all that out, make sure to follow not just this channel, but as well as everything onto all the socials for the Esport company. You'll be able to see all of that content and all of that casted over and make sure that all these awesome players get highlighted. So they deny the Jean Grey plus Wolverine combination. So no more weird will they, won't they, Friends edition style love affairs. But with the Magic staying locked in, Iron Man, they did not want to have a Magneto to counter Meteor M, his ultimate. So they made sure that they banned out Magneto first and brought their Iron Man back online.
We will be on Snapthorn here as well. I feel like Snapthorn has been a pretty a big contributor over on that Central Buck South side, and we saw how much value that the Iron Man was able to get on map number 1. So here we go. It is map number 3 as we do get ready for it. Central Buck South. We hear them already next door. They're getting pumped. They're amped. We're hearing the woos. Let's get down and do what it do.
I'm hopeful, but I'm concerned about the duelist situation from out of Penn Manor. They're going to be playing defense. They've got the Squirrel Girl and the Magic. Those two get both underutilized and banned outright. So if it's your pocket pick, if it's your flexology that when this hero is out there, you win, that has to be now. And if it's not, then it's a bad deal. But we're going to see Dr. Strange out there for the Quickster. That means an Eye of Agamotto is going to be stunning some soul sources if they let him run through. Oh, blaze that.
4 minutes here to figure out what they can make happen and make shake, as they will be the ones who look to try and set the pace and set the tone here on the offensive side on map number 3 to get things started. The cart, well, it hasn't stopped really moving much, as it really does feel like Central Buck South have been right back into their team fighting groove. Now,
the good news is that they still can be able to make some extra distance. You spawn immediately, but if one nut is going to crack this open, it's going to be Rusty, and they're already building up into their squirrel wave. If you have never seen the tidal wave of all of those rodents, well, then you could be seeing something massive. The key thing is that they have to be able to find that hit scan, especially onto Snapthorn. They're going to be the big counterplay to make that one work out, especially because your Magic just got whacked.
Some spot to be in, but you do have the Iron Man down on the other side, so I guess at least that's something in exchange here. But it really just does feel like, as far as for Penn Manor, they're doing a great job of keeping the resistance here behind the payload.
You got the Squirrel Tsunami used early on. Penn Manor has no extra answer, especially for the final judgment. A quadra kill for VKR. When you get that, I mean, it's a relentless force. They also have 4 ultimates to make this an even easier job. I'm going to tell you the kill factor right now. Quickster uses the Eye of Agamotto. Snapthorn uses their ultimate, and this becomes a memory of Dust and Echoes for Penn Manor.
Is that one on me? I just gave them credit for how well they were doing, and then the team fight completely goes the opposite way. Yo, hand up, that's my bad. Or maybe it's just Central Buck South really doing a great job of locking in. They're already finding themselves to make that 3 picks in this next fight. Central Buck South just continue to show ruthless aggression.
Oh man, that In-Song Inferno is not finding any singing or harmonies right now, because Rusty just got deleted off the map again. Jeff has arrived, y'all. We are switching over to, oh, okay, never mind. I don't know what we're gonna pick anymore. Okay, they continue to flex out. You're seeing the discomfort being brought up by Penn Manor. They've got an Eye of Agamotto. They have it in their back pocket just for whenever everything else gets popped from out of Central Buck South. They're gonna try and use it immediately as soon as they hear the other Doctor Strange.
Back to that same point that we have talked about through the course of the first 2 maps, is they just don't have answers over on that Comets side, continuing to make changes, and you wonder if at this point, do you even have a strategy to the point, or are you really just trying to see if you can counter their counter?
I mean, at this point, Insung Inferno got popped, I would be running upwards as Togi to be able to use the Eye of Agamotto, get everyone planted, and apply as much of the AoE damage as you possibly can, but magic ends up gone. They will use it late. They are combining it with nothing. They have to have pure output of damage, but your Vanguard is now gone.
Absolutely deleted yet again, and now also Rusty going to fold too. It just feels like every time they change their target, that player ends up falling in the next 2 or 3 seconds. CB South are just doing a great job with their team shot.
Penny Parker's sweeper is going to get locked down, and the main thing is fundamentally Penn Manor is hitting panic buttons, and they're not hitting strat buttons. It feels like the Insung Inferno they could have been able to pop that early, get out all of the extra looks going towards their Jean Grey, and then if you use the Eye of Agamotto later, slap them down with a Phoenix for some AoE. Instead, they're just using an ult, but like separated by about 10 seconds or so, thinking that it can get the job done by itself.
It hasn't done thus far. While we've definitely seen Central Buck South doing a great job of being able to stack their ultimates on their side. Matter of fact, they've got 5 of them things at their disposal, and they're halfway through it. It's going to be at least the first one that gives them the green light, and that's all they need to consume, which means they still got 4 left in their bag.
I mean, that was now they're about to teleport all the way to their spawn. That's just rude. Okay, Quickster is like, all right, don't worry. We'll be spinning this one straight into their head. They have nowhere they can go because they're just going to trap them out as soon as they come through one door. That means that they are funneling them through a single entry point. The final judgment is online. It is absolute punishment of the highest form. Eye of Agamotto, the invincible pulse cannon, and death beyond death.
It just seems like complete and utter domination here for Central Buck South, as they will be able to complete the full push yet again here on map number 3 with 3:23 left on the clock. We will have both of our teams confirming up their hero selections as we do switch the sides. But man, for Penn Manor, if it didn't already feel like it was a mountain, it is now Mount Kilimanjaro to climb.
Oof. A2. Man, all right, what do you do? I'm gonna try breaking this down.
Pray.
Prayers. Pick up the cross, see what you can make happen. This team mechanically sound. They're here for a reason. They're able to beat other teams. But Central Bucks puts them in such an uncomfortable situation anytime that they are trying to execute, not even an ultimate, but just like together, it is separated by about a 5-second lag time. It feels like the IGL is kind of like trying to kind of one-man army, which is now why when you see 6-man groups like this, Central Buck South has 2 IGLs. They're taking course as to what play calling needs to happen together.
Still crazy to think that as dominant as their Marvel Rivals squad is, that the one team for Division 1 that didn't make it here to DeSales today was their Overwatch squad. I feel like there's such a combination, or like a similarity between the two, that you would have figured if there's one that they didn't miss, it would have been their Overwatch squad. But hey, you know what? We mentioned that both of these teams looking to try and add to their trophy case. Central Bucks South 1.5 away from doing just that.
Penn Manor needs to play out of this position, and they need to gain so much ground. The problem is that there has been no answer for Snapthorn. They tried Squirrel Girling against them, and that was just not a good look. You're going to have to find a better hit scan to counter. I was thinking maybe Human Torch, maybe get your Jean Grey to go upwards. Quickster is able to solo against the Magic. That's not what you want to see happen into your do list.
All right, now Penn Manor coming out swinging here, that's for sure, but 4 will eventually fall, make it 5. Blade doing a great job of bringing the heat here for Central Buck South. This first initial push has now been brought to a screeching halt, and it's going to be up to the Comets to try and find some way to dig in and get things moving once more.
And they can full hold from this position as well. So you've got about 3 minutes left to go before the championship is in the hands of the Titans. Going to try and turn this into Fortnite all over again. We've got a couple of bushes that are rewriting the entire street side, and hopefully a street sweeper comes through and gets all of the leaves out of the way. Grotto is going to be 30% 30% from trying to be able to get that strangling prison. Quickster is literally just unkillable. They will put up the Aegis, not let anyone through the shield, and Penn Manor is now dealing it from the doctor.
Great job here, continuing to press forward. The Quickster trying to see just how much they can find, and we do see, as far as for Central Bucks South, as they continue to hold the line, they continue to throw everything but the kitchen sink here at Penn Manor.
We just got the strangling prison. The invincible pulse cannon is online. They're just waiting for the Eye of Agamotto. If anything is going to come out from that, they're going to just wait it out. That may actually just be the kill button to wave goodbye to the Comets. See if they can be able to move from out of their own spawn side, but so far it is a full hold to this corner.
Well, this is tough here too, because you're now going to stagger just a little bit more, as you are going to be able to find, I think that was your deal, was the last one to fall. They have to find some way to put pressure towards this payload itself, which is just going to continue to kind of stagger out this squad a little bit more, unless they can quickly find a way to turn the tide in this team fight.
There's only one last chance here. I can't imagine otherwise. They're going to have the strangling prison pop out. They have not copycatted anything with the God of Mischief. They will have the Eye of Agamotto, and now they're going to actually use Mr. Incredible. Seeing him get snapping away, throwing some fists. Oh, the final judgment used in counter, so it just becomes an ult fest, especially into the invisible boundary. Everything in the world is getting popped. You have another Eye of Agamotto. That's the invincible pulse cannon, and then the final judgment to finish it on off. You got the Punisher punishing when they need to punch him down.
Talk about quite the alliteration there for Central Bucks South, as it's yet another team wipe. And now with our final minute, it does feel like it's the beginning of the end. You can hear the Titans next door as they do continue to roar. They've got all of the control, and it just feels like Penn Manor continue to have nothing but questions.
There's another strangling prison on the way. They're going to have the invisible boundary alongside the Dark Child. The only Dark Child that we've seen the entirety of this matchup. Can they get at least a pick? They go down before they can even get sick of having to deal with this team. Central Bucks South, 30 seconds away from claiming the fall.
It doesn't look like they've got anything left in the tank as well on that Penn Manor side. You're not going to have enough time to build up any more ults. If anything, maybe just Toggies, but that would be absolutely it. You've got to try and find a way to gather back together, but still sending people in almost one by one to fall to their demise. Central Bucks South, they came in, they saw, they dominated. Central Bucks South will be your Division 1 Penn Marvel Rival champions.
Oh, they tried to use one last Eye of Agamotto. They actually get a few solid picks, and they're going to retreat just for the time being. It is going to be overtime, nigh infinity. If you're Penn Manor in the Comets, they somehow got to the cart. That cart now will have to be where they live.
And make sure that you don't find a way off of it, as you do see Togi doing a great job of at least making sure they kept the fight alive for the rest of the squad to catch up. Central Bucks South showing their discipline. They're not worried about peeking around this corner too soon. They want to wait for everyone to be grouped back up, because they have had all of the control. And DKR and company, they've got ults upon ults for this last fight.
You're going to actually not utilize the Eye of Agamotto in the middle of all that. They knew that there's too much separation. Final judgment just before they actually put the invincible pulse cannon, but there's a lot of people that are locked away from the side. You have to get back to the cart. You're locked away. You're getting C9, and they cannot get back. That's going to be it. A 3-0 of the Central Bucks South Titans, and they will be your undefeated fall champions.
Love hearing this sound next door, man. That's what it's all about. Straight passion, and big congratulations to the Central Bucks South squad and VKR. I feel like we saw time and time again being able to find those multi-kill sort of plays, and MVP for a reason here on map number 3, leading the way, 36 of them things. I mean, wow, what more can you ask for? 23,000 damage. I mean, just really all around, really leading the charge.
A couple of deaths. I mean, Quickster literally soloing anything that Rusty was trying to bring out, I think, from that, Crispy from the Magic. And I mean, you saw such a reliance upon being able to promote forward from their strategists, but they just couldn't turn around that corner. Togi tried every so often to be able to find combination, especially along JD from the Mr. Incredible. Just it just didn't work. And I mean, this was as easy as having the go button from the like a reality erasure. If you have a Scarlet Witch with Quickster, it's just an open book test, but it was only CB South that was passing.
Well, CB South not only passed, but they passed with flying colors, man. They came in and it was absolute domination. I mean, from the word go, just had the word control was in their back pocket there. So congratulations to CB South, as they are your Division 1 Penn Marvel Rivals Conference champions. Marvel Rivals Penn Conference champion here for Division 1. We have Division 2 getting ready to get started up here in just a couple of minutes for the Colonial side. Of course, we also have that interview as well. I know we are already running a little bit behind, so we will try and get those things going as quick as possible for you guys. We appreciate your patience throughout the course of the day. I want to make sure we're also giving a big shout out to the man behind the curtains, Nick NCS, who's really been doing a whole heck of a lot of work, as well as our game admins, not just here, but on site at all of our locations. We're going to take ourselves a quick little break. We'll have that interview, and then we have one more series here on the day. We'll be back after this. And we are back here at the sales, and that is now 7th, 8th. I don't know. I've lost track of how many champions we've crowned here today, but that's CB South getting their second here. And now this one being for D1 for Marvel Rivals. We're talking with Blaze. Blaze, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling great.
So, Blaze, you guys came in today as the number 1 seed, and I'm kind of curious. You guys obviously knew you were waiting by. You weren't going to be the first team that was going to be taking to the stage. Was there a sense of hoping that you were already going to be the second team walking away as champ? Did you already have that expectation? If there was, I'm kind of curious, what's helping build up the winning culture that you guys have very quickly seemed to have developed there at CB South?
I'd say great preparation.
Okay.
Obviously, while we were waiting and watching the other teams played, a lot of game plan and talking. And yeah, shout out to our Rocket League team who won. And yeah, we're just great communication as well, you know.
I prefaced this just before you and I we got into proper interview form. I need to know, because we did see both sides step into the gambit. How much time have you put into work into the gambit? And also give me a little understanding about your kind of role alongside Snapthorn. I feel like they were popping off. You at times you were popping off from the strategist position. Give us an overall wash of how that was working for the team.
Yeah, I mean, since Gambit has released in the game, he's been really good. His ult especially, and knowing that this game was coming up, I put in the hours for sure, and I lorded him pretty quickly. Snapthorn, he's also putting in great work on either Iron Man or Bucky, and also he lorded Spider-Man recently too. So whether we're running Iron Man and working our making our team comp around the flying character Iron Man, or Bucky with his pulls. He had a great amount of pulls in that game. We just work around our DPS.
That's the preparation he's talking about.
I love it. I love it. Well, I know you guys have got quite the camp that have made the trip with you guys out here as far as a support system. And whether you want to shout out the ones that are here in building, or maybe some of the people who weren't able to make the trip, wanted to give you the stage to be able to shout out the supporters back home.
Yeah, shout out to my family who could make it, my brother who is watching from home. Shout out my team, obviously. We couldn't have done it. It's a team game, so we got to work together. And yeah, thank you.
Big congratulations. Well, let's go ahead and shout with Quickster, but congratulations on the victory here, and hopefully we get to run it back again in the spring. And as they're changing things over here, we love it. We love it. We love it. As we're changing things over here, Monkey Man, waiting for the Quickster to get the microphone from Blaze. CB South, we were talking about, had an opportunity to do something special and win multiple titles. They've now won 2, looking to win 3, but we do have the Quickster here on the mic. Quickster, how you feeling today, big dog?
Yeah, great.
Gotta be feeling good, feeling good. I love it. We see the plaque there behind you. For I guess my big question for you, Trickster, is we saw you guys that really have established a level of dominance throughout the course of this season. Do you feel like that is something that you guys were able to kind of have instant chemistry with, or was that something y'all developed really strong throughout the course of the season?
I mean, we just kind of made it an emphasis. We tried to get on as much as we could, try to play whenever we could, like hang outside of school. Oh wait, am I on mute?
No, you're fine.
You're good.
You're good.
But yeah, just try to see each other in school. Just really spend a lot of time together.
I love it.
That's awesome. Now, looking at how Marvel Rivals, this is the first semester that we've had it here for PIEA. You guys obviously now have gone undefeated through the fall semester. Was this a tough transition? It's been since the beginning of the year that this game has been kind of rolling out, but did you transition from any other titles, like it's kind of a transitive property between other esports, to especially find yourself, I think that you were named as like the IGL / co-captain for the squad. Tell me about how that development happened, and also about your responsibility as kind of being the shot caller for this team.
Well, I just I played on other teams like Overwatch, so Rivals is kind of similar being a hero shooter, so they kind of put me on here, and they know I have like experience, so put me as captain with Blaze over there, and kind of just worked out well.
I love it. I love it. Well, Quickster, I know you're wanting to get with the rest of the crew and the family and celebrate, but before we do, anybody that you want to give special shout outs and thanks to?
Yeah, my family, they showed up here. They've been very supportive, and obviously the team, couldn't do without them.
I love it. I love it. Well, Quickster, congratulations, man. Hopefully we get to chat it up again after you guys win another conference title in the spring.
Thank you.